Okay, so if you've got laminate floors, you know the deal, right? They look absolutely incredible, but keeping them looking that way, man, it can feel like a total battle. Well, today, we're going to arm you with the complete strategy to win that fight. And we're talking about protecting your floors from two, well, pretty surprising directions.
Yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We all get laminate flooring thinking, oh, this is going to be so easy. It's indestructible, right? Just a quick mop and you're done. But the truth is, it's got a secret weakness. The good news, though, and this is the great part, once you know what that weakness is, protecting your floor becomes like way simpler than you'd think.
So here's our battle plan. We're going to tackle laminate's #1 enemy, and that's moisture, on two different fronts. First, we'll dive into the obvious one, the spills and the cleaning from the top down. But then, we're going to get into the really interesting part, the invisible threat that's creeping up from below.
To win any battle, you've got to know your enemy. And laminate flooring is a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing. It looks and feels like one solid thing, but it's actually a pretty complex, multi-layered product with a very specific and kind of hidden weakness. Let's break it down.
So you've got these 4 distinct layers, right? On top, there's that tough-as-nails wear layer. Then you have the pretty part, the decorative image. Under that is a dense fiberboard core that gives it all its strength, and finally, a backing layer for stability. I mean, it sounds super durable, and for the most part, it really is. But the real vulnerability, it isn't in any one of these layers.
You see, deep down, that core is basically compressed wood fiber. And those little seams between the planks, that's the Achilles heel. It's the weak spot. The second any water gets in there, that core just soaks it up like a sponge. And what happens next is not pretty. We're talking swelling, warping, permanent damage. And here's the kicker. Unlike real hardwood, you can't just sand it down and fix it. It's a goner. And that is why the first front of our battle, how you clean, is so important.
All right, so let's tackle front number 1, protecting your floor from the top down. This is all about mastering the art of cleaning in a way that keeps every last drop of moisture out of those super vulnerable seams.
You should think of your floor cleaner kind of like skincare. You wouldn't wash your face with harsh dish soap, right? Same logic applies here. The perfect cleaner is pH neutral, so it doesn't eat away at that protective top layer. It's got to be non-abrasive, free of any oils or waxes that just cause buildup. And, this is key, it needs to dry really fast without leaving any sticky, streaky mess behind. Now for the fun part, what you should never use. So many people grab the vinegar, but it's way too acidic. Over time, it'll just dull that beautiful finish. Bleach? Even worse. Don't even think about it. Oil soaps and those mop and shine products, they just create a slippery film that actually attracts more dirt. But the #1 enemy, the biggest no-no of them all, is just plain old excess water. A sopping wet mop is literally a recipe for disaster.
So what should you use? Well, there are some fantastic options out there, made specifically for laminate floors. You've probably seen brands like Bona. It's great for just everyday cleaning because it dries super fast. Zep is a more powerful, budget-friendly option for those heavy traffic spots. And something like Rejuvenate is a great all-in-one pH balance choice. The most important thing here is to just use a product that's actually designed for laminate.
The right technique is every bit as important as the right cleaner. So first, you always have to sweep or vacuum up all that loose grit. You don't want to be dragging that stuff around. Then, and this is probably the most important tip I can give you, spray the cleaner directly onto your microfiber mop pad, not on the floor itself. This lets you control the moisture perfectly. Your mop should just be barely damp to the touch. When it comes to laminate and water, trust me, less is always more.
Okay, so you've got your cleaning routine down to a science. Spills? Wiped up in a flash. Your mop is perfectly damp, not wet. Your floors are just gleaming. You've totally won the battle from above. Or have you? What if I told you there's another battle happening from below, a more sinister threat that you can't even see?
And that brings us to the second front in our war on moisture. We're talking about the invisible enemy, the one that attacks from underneath your floor, silently and without stopping.
See, subfloors, especially big concrete slabs or the ground under a crawlspace, are always releasing a tiny amount of moisture as vapor. It's just a natural thing. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but it is always there, rising up. And if that vapor gets trapped underneath your laminate flooring, it will slowly but surely destroy that wood fiber core from the bottom up.
So how in the world do you fight an enemy you can't even see? Well, you use a shield, you use a barrier. But this is where a lot of people get tripped up, because there are two different kinds of barriers you need to know about: moisture barriers and vapor barriers. And believe me, they are not the same thing.
Let's start with the moisture barrier. Its job is super simple. It stops liquid water, period. The best way to think about it is like a raincoat for your subfloor. If there's any chance of actual water or dampness seeping up from the ground, this is your first line of defense.
Now, a vapor barrier is a different beast. It deals with moisture when it's a gas, water vapor. Think of it like the plastic wrap you might put over a bowl of hot soup. It's not stopping a spill, it's trapping the steam. A vapor barrier manages that invisible flow of damp air to stop it from condensing back into liquid water right under your beautiful new floor.
So let's just put them side by side to make it super clear. A moisture barrier is like a dam. It's there to stop liquid water from getting through. A vapor barrier is more like a filter for the air. It manages the flow of vapor to prevent condensation. They might even look similar, but they do totally different jobs. So it's not a question of which one's better. It's about figuring out which problem you're actually trying to solve.
So which one do you need? This is the million-dollar question, right? And the answer depends completely on your specific battlefield, your climate, and what kind of subfloor you're working with.
Here's a really easy way to break it down. If you're putting your floor over a concrete slab in a basement or in a really humid climate, you absolutely need a moisture barrier to block any potential liquid. But if your main enemy is condensation, say you live in a cold climate where your warm house air is hitting a cold subfloor, then a vapor barrier is the right tool for that specific job.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. We've talked about winning the battle from above with smart cleaning, and winning the battle from below with the right kind of barrier. Real victory here isn't about picking one or the other. It's about having a total, two-front strategy.
So here it is, your complete protection plan. Plain and simple. From above, clean smart. Use the right stuff, use as little water as possible. From below, protect that foundation. Install the right barrier for your situation before you even lay down the first plank. And for everyday defense, come on, you know this. Get some good doormats to catch the grit, and put felt pads on your furniture to stop the scratches.
And that's really it. It all boils down to just two key strategies. Protect your floors from the moisture you can see on top, and protect them from the moisture you can't see down below. If you can master those two things, you have basically guaranteed a long, beautiful life for your laminate floors.
So you now have the game plan to protect your floors from their biggest threats, visible and invisible. But it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible problems might be hiding in plain sight around your home? What are we all missing that could be causing damage we don't even see yet? Something to think about.